covered the boxing card a little bit earlier in the show for you in Cleveland this coming Friday. Well, this Saturday, we've got a wrestling card. A couple of the wrestlers are here with us now. The Pro Wrestlers Ohio, Johnny Gargano and Greg Iron. Welcome to the show, guys.
How you doing?
Good to have you here. You're going to be at the Spanish Youth Center on Saturday. There's going to be an afternoon session at 1 o'clock, one at 7:30, and tell us all about it.
Well, we got a great card. Of course, I'm going to be on it. Johnny, he's going to be defending the PWO heavyweight title. A bunch of our other regular roster members on there. Jason Bain, M-Dog 20 are going to be competing on what the afternoon shows for the children. There's going to be a lot of kids out there, but everyone's invited. And of course, then we have one at 7:30 in the evening. That's one of our regular TV tapings. Actually, both will be taped for Sports Time Ohio.
Yeah, we're going to have that on our air. Johnny, give us your background and how you won the crown, how it came to that. That's a beautiful piece,
thank
man.
you.
That's nice.
It all came about, if you watch the Pro Wrestling Ohio show every Sunday night at 10 p.m. on Sports Time Ohio, it all came about where my former mentor and best friend, Josh Prohibition, actually he was the champion, and I actually was able to defeat him at our biggest show of the year, Resolution 2. And, it's been an awesome time. It's been awesome being the PWO heavyweight champion.
Now, you started very young, I understand.
I started very young. I started at 8 years old. It was funny because I would go to the wrestling matches, and luckily enough, they let me get in the ring at 8 years old, which is really unprofessional, by the way. Well, they let me get in the ring at 8 years old and mess around a little bit, and that kind of took off from there. It took off to where I started training at 14, and I had my first pro match at 17. So I've been doing this ever since then. I'm 22 now.
So you wanted it since you were a kid?
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. When I was younger, the big thing was I'd always imitate what I'd see on television, I dress up like Power Rangers or Ninja Turtles or Batman, and unfortunately, our society frowns down upon dressing up in tights and going out and fighting crime. So I'm able to now dress up in tights and go wrestle and perform in front of everybody. So that's perfectly acceptable, though.
Greg, your story's a little different, and you have a handicap. Tell us about your amazing accomplishment.
Well, I was born with a mild form of cerebral palsy. It affects my right hand and arm. I have limited use of it. But despite that, like Johnny, when he was little, I always loved pro wrestling. And I never really thought I could be a wrestler, but I started picking up weights when I was about 16. And when I was about 18, 19, it was kind of one of those things where it was just like, I really want to try this, and if I don't try it, then I'm never going to know for sure if I can do it. And I've been doing it ever since I was 19 years old. Now I'm 23 now, so almost 4 years.
That is an incredible story.
Yeah.
And how does it? I can't believe that you can be so successful with that handicap of yours. How do you compensate for it?
Well, I work around it in ways that sometimes I guess I don't even realize. When you have something your entire life, you kind of just don't even realize it's there after a certain amount of time. So when I'm lifting weights, I use like lifting straps to compensate for things I can't do with both arms. In the ring, I just try to, use my left arm and my legs and my quickness, work around my right arm, which is, a disadvantage for me in a lot of ways. But I just try to do the best that I can with what I got.
Good for you, man. I applaud you for that. That's fantastic. How much training do you guys do?
Ooh, constantly. I know. Me personally, I try to work out at least 5 times a day. Actually, I do 2 sets of cardio. I do my weight training, and just recently I've tried to add Kempo karate into my own training. So 5 times a day, not to mention wrestling almost every single weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and trying to manage that throughout the week as well.
How about you, Greg?
It's tough, lifting weights 4 or 5 times a week, just cardio, like 20, 30 minutes a day, just your normal basic stuff, diet and exercise, just try to stay in good shape for the ring,
Former Indians manager Jeff Torborg, his son became a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
And do you remember him?
Mm-hmm.
And his son, and Jeff, I remember interviewing Jeff, and he was telling me how he got into it once his son did, and he had absolutely no idea the training that was involved.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. People watch wrestling and they think, oh, it's choreographed. It's not a real sport. But trust me, man, trust me. If you try this, if you try to do what we do, it takes a whole nother level of training. We get guys, I used to work at a training center. a wrestling training center. And you get guys who come in off the street who are baseball players, football players, and think this is going to be a piece of cake, this is going to be a breeze. And they come in and they're done in the first 5 minutes because there's a whole different level of cardio that your body is not used to taking already.
Well, a lot of former NFL players at the end of their careers and boxers. And Canseco, he went to the mixed martial arts, didn't he? He tried that out and found out, watch yourself, you're losing your... Yeah. You don't want to drop that.
No, don't want to pay for this.
No way. Tell us some of your signature moves.
I do a what's called in the wrestling business a flatliner, but I have a different name for it. I call it handicapped parking. You know, I have this disability, but I wear handicap symbols on my gear and stuff because I figure, you know, being disabled shouldn't be a sign of weakness. You know, a handicap symbol is a very strong thing in life, and I figure I can't hide it. So embrace it. You know, I do a move called handicap parking. You know, I do another move called the disabler. You know, it's just all embracing whatever you have in life. You know, you can't avoid it.
Your family's got to be awfully proud of you.
Yeah, my dad is very proud of me. You know, we used to always watch wrestling and stuff together growing up, and I don't think even he expected for me to come this far, and I'm real thankful.
You're both from Ohio, I take it?
Yes, Cleveland, born and raised.
Give us your backgrounds. Where'd you go to high school and all that?
Well, I went to James Ford Rhodes, you know, a public school all my life. And yeah, that's about it.
I went the completely opposite side of the spectrum. I went to St. Edward High School. Every time I always bring that up, they always say, "Oh, did you amateur wrestle there?" And I wish I would have. I wish I would have amateur wrestled because the program is amazing, and I love being at school there. But I was wrestling I was professionally wrestling, doing this type of stuff since I was 8, since I was 14. So I didn't really have any time to amateur wrestle. I wish I would have did that now, looking back. But
now you guys travel all over Ohio.
Mm-hmm. I travel not just Ohio, even. You know, me and him both. We travel different places. Chicago, Pennsylvania, all across, you know.
Canada a couple times.
Canada, Florida, you know, I'm in talks with people to go to Japan and to Mexico. So it's cool to be able to travel around, and it's the cool thing about professional wrestling too is it's giving me the opportunity, a 22-year-old kid, the opportunity to go around and see places where I'd never get a chance to see at 22 years old if I was just a normal kid.
Right, right. Now tell us about the rest of your card, some of the other guys, some of your toughest opponents.
Well, one of my toughest opponents in Pro Wrestling Ohio right off the bat would actually be this man right here. You know, Johnny was a different guy when PWO first started. I actually had a severe concussion with brain bleeding, and which actually almost ended my wrestling career and my life. And when PWO first started, you know, me and him had a contest, and I got an upset victory over him. And it led to, you know, Johnny being a little upset about that. And it culminated in a last man standing match that we had at the very first Resolution. It's our big WrestleMania. And he's been my toughest opponent, this guy right here. But it's been a joy to work with him.
Yeah, sorry about your head, by the way.
Yeah, I'll forgive you one day.
Johnny, go ahead.
Greg is a big, tough opponent of mine. Josh Prohibition, my former mentor, he retired after I beat him for this title. He's a tough opponent of mine. You know, recently, being the PWO heavyweight champion on Sports Time Ohio, you've seen I've had challenges coming out of the woodworks. Everyone wants a shot. When you're on top, everyone wants a shot at the title. And I've not denied anyone a title shot. So recently, I've been defending the title for the past 5 months, 6 months. So, you know, nonstop.
Now, 1 o'clock and 7:30, the two sessions will be staged at the Spanish Youth Center with these two guys and many of the others featured. And where do you guys go from here?
Well, after this Saturday show, the next stop is actually we have a big show coming up at the Autorama.
We're really looking forward. This is probably the biggest event in PWO history. We're really looking forward to this. After this Saturday, Spanish Youth Center, we're going to the IX Center, the Cleveland Autorama. They're March 19th, 20th, and 21st. And I know myself, when I was younger, I loved the Cleveland Autorama. Yeah. It's fun for the entire family. And we'll be doing a couple different TV tapings there. What are we going to be doing there?
Right. We got, basically, we're one of the main attractions for that weekend. And we're Friday night, we're doing a ladder match. Saturday night, there's going to be a hardcore match, Too Hot for TV. And on Sunday, there's going to be a tournament, and the winner of that tournament will actually take on this gentleman for his coveted PWO championship.
Well, I can tell you from our network standpoint that you guys have got a great following here on STO, and keep it up.
Thank you.
Nice having you on the show,
Thanks for having me.
Greg and
Thanks for having
Johnny.
us.
And again, tickets available if you just show up at the Spanish Youth Center, and we also have tickets available here on the show, and all you have to do is call us up and request them, and we'll make sure that they get into your hands. So just give us a call and check out these guys. They're great, and best of luck to them, and anything we can do for you fellas in the future, by all means, just give us a holler.
We really appreciate it.
We've got Ashley Collins with another STO Sports Update, and if time allows, I'll dive back into those calls, maybe get one or two in.